Can I just tell you guys about some breaking news?
Yeah.
There's some stuff that's coming out. You want to finish that thought? Well,
no, I was just saying that it's almost like the Ellisons are pretty nice to me. We'll see how you do.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. I'm trying to read through this. These are some releases that have just crossed the wires. Berkshire Hathaway is announcing some leadership changes and appointments. And this is happening less than a month from Greg Abel taking over the reins from Warren Buffett, who has been heading that company up for the last 60 years. In these changes that are coming, Adam Johnson, who is the CEO of NetJets, has been appointed to a new role. It's called the President of Consumer Products, Service, and Retailing Businesses of Berkshire Hathaway. He's going to continue as the CEO as NetJets, but he'll be expanding his role by taking up some additional responsibilities. He's been there for 3 decades at NetJets, including 10 years as the CEO. And Greg Abel says that Adam is an accomplished leader with a proven ability to deliver long-term shareholder value. Also, Todd Combs is leaving Berkshire Hathaway. He, of course, has been running a big chunk of the money, something like $20 billion or more of the money at Berkshire Hathaway, and he's been the CEO of Geico for the last 6 years. Berkshire is saying that he's leaving and that he's resigned to accept a new and important and interesting job at JPMorgan.
Was on the board of JPMorgan.
He was on the board of JPMorgan. He's going to be stepping down from the board of JPMorgan to pick up this new role that I'll talk about in just a second. It's the head of the strategic investment group at the Security and Resilience Initiative that Jamie's been talking about, Jamie Dimon, for some time. We'll talk more about that in just a moment, but just get through the rest of the Berkshire changes. Nancy Pierce has been appointed the CEO of Geico effective immediately. She's been serving as the chief operating officer at Geico, and she joined the company back in 1986. So Jane has some very nice things to say about her being practical, decisive, and focused on results. Mark Hamburg, who is Berkshire's chief financial officer, is going to be retiring from Berkshire Hathaway, but not for another year and a half. He'll be staying through June 1st of 2027. He's been with the company for 40 years, and Berkshire is saying they extend their gratitude to Mr. Hamburg for his exceptional leadership. Charles Chang is going to be succeeding him as Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Berkshire, and that's effective in June 1st of 2026. They'll work together for a transition period. There's a new general counsel who's coming in, Michael O'Sullivan, who is coming from Snap, but previously he had worked at Munger Tolles, which, of course, Munger Tolles & Olson is Charlie Munger's old law firm and has been the legal firm for Berkshire for decades and decades. All of these changes are happening, and again, JPMorgan is just putting out this release on Todd Combs as well. He's going to be heading up the firm's efforts to make direct equity investments of an initial $10 billion as part of this $1.5 trillion initiative that JPMorgan has announced to address pressing needs in key sectors from critical minerals to frontier technologies. Jamie Dimon has talked an awful lot about how in this country we need to be more focused on things like the supply chain, things like defense, AI, critical minerals and mining issues, all of those things that we've heard an awful lot about from the Trump administration, just places that we found we no longer are able to kind of care for ourselves. Jamie Dimon has talked about, and in the last 6 or 8 weeks, he's been talking about this. They put out a release, I think, in October, highlighting some of the things that they'd be doing here. The firm already has plans to loan $1 trillion over the next 10 years. They're hoping to bump that up by 50% to $1.5 trillion. And now Todd's going to be running this pretty key and critical
the frontier?
$10 billion.
What do they mean by frontier? I think they mean frontier in terms of new...
Frontier technologies.
Right, okay.
Like AI.
Not frontier. It's not going out of the country.
No, it's not like rolling out in the wagons, the covered wagons.
No, but some of the frontiers, there's top tier. There's
no frontier technologies. They're talking about like AI.
Developed countries, less developed companies, think of
yeah. No, this is for things for in America, I think. Yeah. And by the way, the council that's heading all of this is going to be chaired by Jamie Dimon. It's got a pretty impressive group of people on the board of this. Jeff Bezos is going to be joining it. Todd will be on the board. Todd Combs, Michael Dell, Jim Farley, Robert Gates, Alex Gorski, Condoleezza Rice, Paul Ryan. A lot of pretty important names of people you probably know too. But this has been a huge initiative for Jamie Dimon. And so Todd's going to be running that venture capital arm of what's happening there.
It sounds like, kind of setting up to help make America great again in terms of bringing back a lot of things that we lost during globalization.
Yeah.
No. Very cool.
So all of these changes are taking place, of course, as Warren Buffett gets ready to hand over the CEO job to Greg Abel. That's a job he told us about back in May, where he surprised all of the shareholders who were there at the annual meeting. But this looks like a pretty set plan for an easy transition for how Greg's going to be taking over that company again starting January 1st. He's obviously been running things for a long time and helping along the way with all of these things, but this is the formal transition for that, and they're laying out their plans.